All right, we're live, everybody. Hello, hello. We should see everybody on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're not on IG. We haven't figured out that one yet. That's just too complicated. Hello, hello, Tanya Deb. I haven't seen you all morning.
I know.
It's been so long.
We're just like half making fun of ourselves because we're like literally together so much.
All day, every day.
I know. So this morning I was going for a walk and I was just like so happy, and like right now I'm looking at a palm tree and it's really nice. I'm literally like my office. We're in a rental right now, and I literally am just looking at a palm tree and it just makes me smile.
Well, you always talk about how calm I am. I'm a Florida native. I grew up with that, so I thought the whole world was like that.
Yeah.
Good news is I got a realtor to start looking for warehouses for our studio, which I'm super excited for, and I bought a bunch of domains yesterday. So really excited about. We're creating a new marketing and TV studio in near Jacksonville, and it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be good for our clients, but also it's gonna be like a creative hub for all creatives in the area, and there's nothing like that, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited. So we started looking at places and whatnot. It's gonna be a little bit of a process, but I'm really excited about that.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. But all right. Let's jump in. So today we're talking about lead generation, which I'm kind of dorky. I love it. But it's probably, I would say, one of the most challenging parts of a business. You can argue probably that in sales. And we always talk about entrepreneurship. Everybody always thinks, oh, well, I was a social media manager for this brand. I could totally just run my own company. But the reality is, what you don't think about is that you have to be the lawyer, the accountant, the lead gen specialist, the salesperson, the fulfillment person. Like, you're everything as an entrepreneur. And I always say, if entrepreneurs want to be successful, there's four main things you have to know. The first is you have to have confidence. You have to have the confidence to do the job, and you have to have the confidence in yourself. What we find is, and what's interesting, when I started coaching a couple years ago, I thought, okay, well, most people just suck at lead gen and sales. That's what they need help with. And what we found is most people that have not generated six figures, a majority of why they fail, it has nothing to do with those skills. It actually is confidence. So if you don't have confidence, you have nothing. Mm-hmm. You can't do anything, right? And then the second thing is you have to have the right offer and you have to have the right messaging. If you don't have that, people try to complicate. I actually this morning did a TikTok on this, and it stemmed off our morning meeting, Deb, this morning, where it's like, we have simple offers, but yeah, we want to complicate it. We want to make everything so much more complicated and so much more like sophisticated sounding, thinking that's going to make us better as a brand. But actually, all it's doing is actually making our customers have more difficulty understanding what the hell we do. And so to me, simplification is so much more important than sophistication.
Yeah, if they got to think about it. If they got to think about it too hard. Yeah, if they got to think about it too hard, we've lost. Like, customers don't want to have to think about it. They just want it to be obvious.
Well, and especially when it comes to lead generation. I mean, I've seen some crazy, complicated strategies and this and that. And at the end of the day, it's you have to even have that simplified too, because that's what we're going to talk about today is lead generation. So it's just a conversation.
Well, like, seriously, that's a great point, because lead gen to me is like, I'm over here and I want to be in touch with these leads over here. It's like a bridge. Now that bridge is made up of highly engineered, architected, there's documents, there's people, all that's your sales funnel or, whatever stuff. But in the end, I just need to know, I need to get over, if I'm a customer, I need to get over there. Here's the bridge. That's it. They don't want to see the architectural drawings or the engineering drawings of the bridge. Just get me, oh, there's a bridge. Okay, great. Hand it to me. I'm going to drive over the bridge. Yeah, make it easy.
I want to see that it's greener on the other side. Come on, that was good.
Mess with my
No, I agree with
Mess
you.
with my metaphors, man.
I call it like there's prospect inquiry land and buying land in that bridge, which is the bridge of trust, right? People
Mhm.
want to know. That's why content's so important. We're going to break this down a little bit further for you of lead generation, because it's like, oh, lead gen, just tell me where to be. No, there's like a whole process. We call it the 3 C's of lead generation. We're going to break that all down for you. But the reality is, in this digital age, lead generation is more important than ever because there's 2 issues here. One, there's a lot more people in the world that now can access you because of this digital world. So now you can get clients all over the world. That's the pro. The con is that now everybody else can too. And it's so easy. It's almost so easy to start a business that there's so much competition out there. Even though 99% of them might not be good, you still have people that can fool people. And so the reality is, whether they're good or not, they're still your competition. I mean, I look at in the coaching world, I mean, I would say there's probably 3 to 5 really good coaches out there that are really our competition. To me, the rest aren't really, because they don't really have the experience we have. But I would say there's 3 to 5 coaches out there that are good, that have good programs that actually get results. But there's a lot of fugazis out there. So what does that mean? You know, we had somebody the other day who was like, oh, I'm going with this other coach. And I looked up the coach, and the coach has like 0 experience. I'm like, this makes no sense, but good luck. You know, like, I don't know what else to tell you. And, you know, the reality is that there's a lot of people out there that are, you know, saying they're marketing experts, saying they're coaches, and they're really not. So that now makes it 10 times harder for you to do lead generation. So what that means is your strategy has to shift. And then you add the bad economy on top of that. And what does that mean? It means people are more skeptical, but people are more fearful. And they're not going to give you the credit card as quickly. So you have to shift your strategy. We've talked about this in a couple webinars and the things that we've shifted in our strategy. But the reality is, you can't do lead gen the same way you could 2 years ago. Meta doesn't work as well as it used to. There's other avenues now that you have to use.
Yeah. And the competition's fierce. I mean, you and I talked about this the other day, but you know, like the pandemic, everybody became an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, like everybody. And so there's a lot of noise in the market. And like you said, even if they're not really a competitor, they're competing for attention. So even if they're not as good as you, where you're competing first is for attention, which is how leads come in. And so like ultimately, you know, you can deliver a better product, but if you don't have a lead gen strategy, it's not going to matter. Nobody's going to know.
Yeah, and attention awareness is the first, you know, part of the first pillar that we're going to talk about, because, you know, when a lot of people think about lead generation, they're like, oh yeah, it's the outreach, it's this, but it's way before that, right? You have to build up that attention awareness through your content, really, you know, at the end of the day, because if you don't, people are not going to like learn to like, know, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of it, you know.
I think that's a relatively new word. What do you think, Alexa? Like the word attention is like a big deal now. Like everybody is fighting for it. It's like a million.
First one's the most attention gets. That's just how it works, right? And you see all these really obnoxious people that get all this attention, and guess what? They're winning, even though they're obnoxious, you know. And that's why the Lambos and all this like showy stuff somewhat kind of works. But the thing that I think is, you get the wrong crowd.
Right.
That's not the crowd I want to hang out with, no offense. Like, I don't want the fake Lambo crowd. And like, I know a coach in particular, and I know this for a fact, and I'm not going to go into details, but he rents the Lambos that are in his ads. They're rented. And his loft is not his loft, it's his friend's loft. And he shoots in there and he does all this content as if it's his own, but he lives in this little tiny studio. So it's like, people get deceived, unfortunately. And I think that while that sucks, there's an opportunity to disrupt the market with the truth, vulnerability, and not bragging through what you have. I mean, I could brag with what I have, but I don't need to, because I brag through what I know, and I brag through what my results are, what my clients' results are, and our strategy. And people that work with us like working with us, and that's what I hang my hat on, not the, you know, my fancy cars or homes or vacations.
Well, growing up in Florida, I grew up on a lake, And I know all about fishing lures. Well, I don't really, but my brothers were really into fishing. And depending on what they were trying to catch, they would change the lure. It's exactly the same thing with lead gen.
Yeah. And you have to think about that with your lead generation. I mean, if you want to have an authentic brand and you really want to draw in, like-minded people, I mean, people at the end of the day buy from people. So I think that approach is definitely the best one.
Yeah. I mean, so let's jump into the three, right? And we talked about attention. There's obviously the ATM method: attention, trust, and monetization. But we like to talk about the 3 C's, and the reason why it's really the 2 C's that I turned into 3 C's. But the first is to create attention. You have to have content. So that's or the first one is create attention, as we talked about, right? So I'm moving on to content now. So first C is create attention. Second one is content. And people do not do this well. And for us, I think that's one of the things we do very, very well. And it's what we teach our students. And it's funny because we have a student, and I don't know if she's watching, she might be watching, she'll probably comment if she is, but she was doing content for like a couple months, and she had other, mindset issues and confidence issues. But one thing she kept consistent was her content. And then all of a sudden she put a piece of content out and it got like millions of views, and she was able to build a 19,000 person Facebook group, and now she's selling all of that, right? Now, whether it was the right audience is another question we're kind of toying with right now. But one thing she never did was stop doing content. And one of the things she said to me one day is that doing content actually made me more confident in what I was doing, because I kept talking about it. And the more I kept talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, I really do know what I'm talking about. And the more positive feedback I got, the more confident I got. So it's actually interesting how, like, for me, for example, like, I hate being on camera. Like, this is torture for me, but I do it for all of you because we have so much knowledge to share. We want to make sure that you guys understand our strategy. Look, there's plenty of fishes in the sea. I want to help you. I want to make sure that you have the strategies that we have. You're going to hire us if you want to hire us. I don't care giving you our strategy. Sometimes I do get in trouble a little bit by my COO giving too much, but what I think is really important for us is I have to get out of my comfort zone. Sometimes half the battle of getting in front of people or lead generation is actually getting out of your comfort zone. I heard somebody say once, they're like, oh, cold DMing is sleazy. And I'm like, well, when you go to a networking event and you sit down and you meet somebody for the first time and you go up and you introduce yourself cold, isn't this the same thing? People are on LinkedIn to meet other people. Just how you do it matters. That's the difference.
Right. How you actually approach somebody and engage with them matters. Like, you've seen those people at the networking events where they walk up with with their product or their service or whatever, like they lead with that. Hey, I do blah, 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 and I'm really good at blah, blah, blah. And here's how much it costs. And do you want to work with me? And you're just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. My name is Deb. Like, can we start with like something, and like, yeah, it's all in how you do it.
Well, there's different strategies too. Like, I would say every platform has a different strategy. We'll break it down. So the first C is you got to create attention. So I look at it like, that's like your tagline. That's like you're commenting on others. That's your engagement. That's like kind of not the obnoxious, like the fake Lambos, but it's like that eye-popping, like these videos gain attention, right? Going live gains attention because everybody sees, oh, Lex is live, right? So it creates that attention. And what you want to do is turn that attention into an audience, and that's when the content matters. So for us, our content, we have a multi-pronged content strategy, but it's a lot of video and it's a lot of value. You'll see if you're in our email list, we barely sell, like barely. And when we do sell, we get a ton of hits because we don't really sell, we provide value. But really what I'm doing is creating short and long-term content through video. And again, guys, I hate being on video, but to win the game, you have to get out of your comfort zone. It's the same with speaking. Like Deb helped me in my application for TEDx. I never thought, if you talked to me a year ago, I would have laughed in your face. I'm like, I would never get caught dead doing a TEDx. And now in April, I'm doing a TEDx, and I'm like sitting there like terrified out of my mind. But those are the types of things you have to do to get out of your comfort zone. And sometimes the best thing for your business is what you're not comfortable doing.
Yep. You're going to do it, FYI. Like, there's no getting out of it now. So you're going to be on that.
So, yeah. So when we talk about creating attention, and then content, right? So let's break down the content piece. So what we like to do is the reel method. And we could all jump in here. And Tanya, I know this is like your world of the reel, but what I'll do is I'll breeze through what reel is, and then Tanya can break them down. But the first is you got to have real content, reality of who you are. Second is educational content. You got to show that you are an expert. There's so many experts out there, so you really got to show your knowledge and what you know. A is authority, and then L is lead gen. You got to actually do some lead gen, and we have a formula there for that. So Tanya, I don't know if you want to kind of break down a little bit more of how we do social media and that piece.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people right now are probably like, oh gosh, there's so many ideas for content and to create, how do I measure that, right? And Alexa came up with the 70-15-15 rule, which I love. And really 70% of your content should really talk about your value, the value that you bring. And then 15% of it should really be about you, right? Or people in general, just really bringing it down to a human level, testimonials. And then the other 15% should be about your offer and, building your authority. So that's a really good breakdown for, to measure your content. So that's a 70-15-15 rule. 70% of your content, talk about your value. 15% should be about testimonials, other people, you, and then 15% should be about building your offer and building your authority.
Yeah, and I think that the most important thing is so for instance, I did a stupid video this morning of me singing, and I sent it to my team first. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put this on Instagram because people want to know your personality. And because think about this, when the first C, create attention, when you create that attention, that grabs them in. Now you want to get them to be part of your audience. How do you do that? Through creating real REAL content, right? And so the first part, the R, I think is probably one of the most important. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, which means you have to show who you really are. And you don't be fake. I am not funny. I'm funny when I'm around funny people. Tanya makes me super funny. So whenever I'm with her, I make content with her because she brings out this silliness in me. But for the most part, I'm not really a silly person unless I'm around certain people. So I showcase that. I show my serious side, but I also showcase my silly side as well because it kind of shows I am really silly, and I don't really show that very often to people. Poor Deb we're on a three-way chat, text message chat, and all day Tanya and I are just sending stupid stuff all day long, and we're like, you hate us yet, Deb? We're just so ridiculous, and you got to show that side of you. But I'm also a hard ass. I'm really tough on our students, especially when I hear the whining or the victimizing, and I'm literally, one of our students literally came on this live a couple of weeks ago. She was like, yeah, the turnaround for me was when you literally yelled at me and told me to stop crying like a little baby. And I said, yeah, because you were just sitting in a corner crying and not doing anything about it. You're wasting your time. You're wasting our time. Just get up and go. Enough is enough. You're playing victim when you have no reason to. And using it as an excuse. Sometimes we use our own quote unquote failure as an excuse because we're really scared that we're not going to make it. And so instead we blame other people. We create a victim story of why we're failing rather than using those failures as a step towards our goal and winning. And so I showcase that. If you go watch my TikTok, I say how it is, but I show my personality. So to me, the reality of the real content is so, so important. It's one of the most important things.
Do you think it's do you think to sort of have to pay attention to the platform that you're on? Kind of your TikTok stuff's a little different, doesn't mean you have to do the latest dance, but do you think that it's important that if you're doing content for lead gen, what you put on one platform may be different than what you put on another?
Oh yeah, we'll break that all down. It's the same but different,
Yeah.
Right? So just I want to answer a question. So we work with service and product bases. We own equity in both. We've helped scale both. For those of you that have followed us, we're helping build my favorite brand of all time, Mighty Yum, which is a product-based business. So we probably wouldn't take a product that's in that realm just because that's a product that we own, but we can help grow and scale any kind of company. So, and yes, I agree, there is a better way, Tanya. So, you know, in terms of, so when we look at the real content, and we're diving, this has everything to do with lead gen, guys. It really does. When you look at Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, they're all really good. And John, I'm actually going to get into this right now. So thank you for this question. They're all really good for lead gen, but it all depends on what your business is, right? So when we talk about Instagram is really great for B2C, but it is also good for B2B, but it depends what kind of B2B, right? So B2C is great because obviously people are scrolling on Instagram all the time. We get a ton of sales off of our Mighty Yum content on Instagram. Like, I mean, you're talking multiple times a day, and especially the shop feature is fantastic on Instagram and Meta. We get a ton of sales off of the shop on Instagram, and people buy it off of it, which is cool. And what's really cool is Instagram allows you to now tag your product. So that's really cool. So in our post, we're talking about a specific product. We can actually tag the post with the product, and then it says buy now. So we make it super easy for people to buy with a couple clicks, right? So Instagram is also great for lower ticket or lead gen. So if you have like lead magnets and those types of things, but really what I like is more of like coaches, for example. If you're going after companies that are like below $1 million, that like Instagram's really good. Instagram to me is like a really visual place. I find it's really hard to go after businesses because that really is like, if you have a business profile, 9 out of 10 times, a business that's, you know, $1 million up is not running that account. So you're hitting their social media person, you're not hitting them. Whereas LinkedIn, people think that's a B2B or a person to a business. No, it's not. It's person to person. And so if I write John on LinkedIn, I might be getting a VA, but most of the time I'm getting John, right? Because this is his own personal LinkedIn. And like for me, I have VAs in my LinkedIn, but when somebody writes me and it's important, my VAs tell me. So if it's an important conversation or we're actually having a conversation, it's actually me having that conversation, not my VA. And so, so to me, Instagram is not really great if you're trying to go after bigger brands, but I think Instagram is a visual platform that you need to be on no matter what, because to me, our Instagram kind of spearheads the rest of the visual identity that we put on other platforms. So I always recommend to have Instagram because people kind of will scope you out, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's where you're going to find people with the big B2B, if that makes sense. So if you're going after smaller businesses, then it's good. But really what you want to focus on is not going after the brands, but going after the owners, right? So if you're going after small businesses, you want to find the CEOs and the owners and the entrepreneurs, right? You don't want to find the actual brands. It doesn't work. So that's for that. For B2B, LinkedIn, I mean, that's the biggest platform. And to be honest with you, what I'm also finding is really important is actually TikTok. TikTok is actually not a bad B2B because, example, my wife is obsessed with TikTok. She's on it all the time. And she's on like the mommy side of TikTok and whatnot. And she is an entrepreneur, right? And she could use your services. She runs, you know, a mega big digital department, right? So she is your ideal audience, but she's on TikTok, right? So that's why I like TikTok, and we're experimenting a lot. A year ago, TikTok was not good for B2C, but now TikTok is mega big. We have a client on there right now that's doing really, really well because now there's trust on TikTok. So now the trend of the whole TikTok made me buy it, it's fantastic now for that. But what we're learning is the ads matter and it has to be authentic. It can't look like an ad. It has to look like real content. So we actually use an app called Billo, B-I-L-L-O, that I got from my business partner. And so we're experimenting with that. And so far I've used it on 3 of our clients, and the stuff we're getting back is really great. And it's actually an app where you can say, hey, I'm going to ship you product and I want you to give me a testimonial back or do some content for their content creators. And you get to actually interview them and look at their past stuff. And so it's really, really great to get really good content out. I don't know what you do, John, so you can tell me what you do a little bit more about it, and I can kind of give you more, I could give you a little more. Facebook is another really great area. And so what's interesting is people don't really understand the power of the group. So for example, we have a client that's in home design. And so I said to her, go, every single development has a Facebook group. Like you could infiltrate your way into those a lot of times. And now you have a whole list of people that are your ideal customers. So like, so for instance, she's going after people on Fifth Ave. She's going after, you know, people with high-end apartments. There are certain groups that people become a part of living in those areas, whether it's like, you know, New York City, East Village or whatever it is. There's groups for people that you can join. And then the crazy thing about social media, guys, that nobody really understands is that it's so easy to scrape email addresses. And you have to have the right email addresses on Instagram and Facebook, because a lot of times those people have to verify their emails and reset their passwords. So you're getting an actual real email, and it's so easy. 9 out of 10 Instagrams, you click the little button on the top right and you get their email addresses. Now, we have VAs scraping emails all day long. And email marketing is another platform that people think emails are dead. They are absolutely not dead. We got 12 leads yesterday just for a single client off one email blast. And like, I think we sent out like 9,000 emails, something like that. It's super easy to scrape emails and on social media. So for example, we had a cruise client and she was looking for retirees, people that were retired. So what do? We just went to other, you know, let's say Facebook pages or groups that were for cruises or retirees, and we scraped the whole list. And it's crazy the amount. If you have the right strategy for email and you tie that with social media, it's so powerful. So you're kind of tackling on both. So a lot of times for B2B, we're doing email and LinkedIn. So we'll send them an email and then we'll tag them on Instagram and go, hey, John, just sent you an email yesterday. I didn't see that you opened it. Or if they did open it, hey, saw you open it, didn't get a response, would love to chat. And hitting them twice in a different way, it actually shows them that, hey, it might have actually been a more one-on-one approach. Because LinkedIn, you can't mass message. Well, you can, but but not in this way. Or most people don't know you can, but you can. So that's kind of a long-winded way to answer that question, John, but kind of dead anyway.
You keep giving it away. You keep giving it away. Like, I keep
whatever. Well, we'll keep giving it away.
Oh, John.
Yeah, John, it's so easy to find agencies. Like, I mean, LinkedIn is just so easy. And then the other thing that we use, there's so many like scraping websites too that you can get emails from. So like, for example, there is like sites where you can literally download lists pretty easily. And like, you know, some are better than others. And so like Zeus Leads is one that tends to be a better like lead gen, to be honest with you, than the other ones that are out there. So you can easily use that to scrape email addresses. I mean, there's other ones out there as well that we've used. And to be honest, I find that it's like 15% of the emails are actually good. So that's kind of part of the problem. So what we do is typically we'll use a service like Zeus Leads or some of these other scraping tools. And then what we'll do is then from there, we will go ahead and use it as a base, but leverage social media to like verify everything. So for example, like Seamless is one we use, and I find Seamless, like their emails, probably only 20% are right. But what it does is it gives me the framework, right? So for B2B, if I want to go find all the agencies, you're probably going to be going after agencies that are 5 to 100 million. I would say that's probably your area, probably more 5, 25 million. A $50 million agency probably already has a solution, but it would probably be a different strategy, John. You probably on that would probably want to get them to switch to your strategy. where, you know, a $5 million, $10 million company might just be getting to the point where they need to white label that and they want to increase those services. So what I would do is use Seamless. I would say, okay, give me all of the agencies that are between 5 and 100 million. And then what I would do there is use the base, because what happens is a lot of times the data is wrong, but now you have the company. So I have VAs that then clean the list up for me. And they'll go to the website, they'll go to LinkedIn, they'll find who the actual owner is and what their right email is, but at least gives them the company name and the base, if that makes sense. But I would say probably Seamless is about 20% right. It's not right all the time, unfortunately, but it gives a good base. Zeus Leads, so far we have pretty good results and scraping on social media. You can go on Fiverr and literally hire somebody for like $100 to scrape 5,000 emails for you. Like, it's so easy to do. So I hope that helps, John. Keep going.
Yeah.
We haven't even hit the last D. You know, we're stuck on content here. We're stuck on content.
Yeah, we're even on we have 2 more C's.
Yeah.
Oh, conversion. Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, we do have 2 more. I forgot. I changed it to 4 C's. I keep adding C's, so we're going to be at like 17 C's by like next year. We were at 3 C's and now we're at 17 C's.
The 2,572 C's of
Being
Maybe
successful in life.
We'll change the lead gen strategy for now. Instead of like your top 3 this or 5 hacks for that or something, we're going to go for like 4 digits or more.
Yeah.
You know, 1,932 tips on how to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
It probably get more clicks. That would probably get more people going, what's this?
Yeah. So I think we hit content. It's important. Do real content. And I'll end with this. Everybody is an expert now. You have to start showcasing you're an authority. You have to start getting PR. You have to get yourself on TV. You have to start, to me, it's no longer what you say about yourself, but what others say about you and who the others are, right? So there's 3 steps to me. Expert is you're saying, I'm an expert. Like, everybody's an expert, all right? Authority is what other people are saying about you and they're saying you're an expert. Celebrity authority is now the next stage, which is who are the people that are saying that. Now getting a Forbes article, you can just pay $4 grand for that. It's not hard. It's important. I'm not saying it's not. It is important to do like the Forbes, the entrepreneurs and that kind of stuff. But really what matters is the third piece, which is who is actually saying these things about you. And you have to start to look at those things, because if you just create a company and people Google you, like you Google me and I'm everywhere, right? And I have a lot of people saying a lot of things about me, and that creates trust in the marketplace that I'm not just saying I'm an expert, but now other people are verifying it. I mean, we're literally business partners with celebrities and big time entrepreneurs and billionaires. We literally have 2 billionaire partners. One is, I would say a third is close to being a billionaire, not yet there, but you know, so the fact that we have people like that are out there, and we have clients that are celebrities, we're partners with celebrities, like that helps build this celebrity kind of authority, because they're not going to just work with anyone. They could pick anyone they want. They could afford to work with anyone. They choose to work with us, right? So you have to start building that authority. And the last thing is, you know, I think Tanya already shared this, but I just want to reemphasize the importance of, you want to share value, but you also at a certain point, 15% of the time have to sell, right? Hey, I'm looking for 5 new clients that are looking to scale their business to 6 figures. DM me scale. Like you've got to put some content out there that actually sells, because if you don't, or even lead magnets work, but then you got to call those people. Like, you best believe if you're putting your information in one of our lead magnets, Tanya's calling you that day, you know, like you've got to be a little bit of aggressive. Sometimes we have this laid back approach. Like you'll see on our sales calls, we're not aggressive because we're really scoping out to make sure you're the right fit. But what we are aggressive on is giving you information and value and understanding who you are. We're quick, we're speed to lead, but not speed to sell, if that makes sense. I kind of like that. Be speed to lead, not speed to sell. Ooh.
I like that too. That's good.
Yeah, I just made it up on the spot. It was pretty good.
That's true
I like
though,
it.
because you want the people that you're having conversations with to be the right fit at the end of the day, right? Because I think part of conversations is, and the key to it is having the right offer, and then obviously having the conversation with the right audience. 'Cause at the end of the day, you're going to be wasting your time. And like Alexa said, you have to ask for the money, right? You have to have the right offer. You have to ask for the money, and don't confuse the potential buyer too, right? Don't have a conversation about your 365 offers that you have, right? Like choose one. Choose one offer.
Well, let's hit on that a little more, right? Because one of the things, so all right, we hired a consultant recently because he had this new innovative way to do email marketing. So he said, and it was a little different than how we were doing it. And so we're like, all right, let's try it out. So we had like a promise guarantee back. We still haven't seen that money back, by the way. And the guy turned out to kind of be a fraud. And the reality is he's somebody that sold something that he couldn't do. So what happened was we gave him literally 2 months, and he did not execute what he said he was going to execute, not even remotely close to what he said he was going to execute. And the reality is that he sold something that he just could not do. And so all that does is make a bad reputation. And this is a very, very small world, very small world. And all it takes is for somebody to say, oh, you follow so-and-so, do you know who that is? And all it takes is for me to go, no, that guy's a fraud. You start putting that out and your reputation is ruined. So to Tanya's point, we're super picky because our reputation is very important. If we can't help somebody, I'm not going to just take your money just because we need money. We don't need any more money. Trust me. Like, we're fine. What we want to do is make sure we take on the right people that we can actually help. And I saw this with my first business, and a lot of you have heard me say this on repeat, that the first business I built, I was chasing money. I was taking on projects that I didn't really love. I took on a few projects that I really couldn't execute as well as I should have wanted to or could have wanted to. And I always completed a project, but I just kept taking money and money and money rather than taking on projects that I wanted, that I was passionate about, that had the same vision and mission and values that I had. And I ended up becoming miserable, and we ended up selling our company in 2014. And we made very good money off it, don't get me wrong, but it got to the point where it was overwhelming, and I was in my early 20s and I had no idea what I was doing. And it just became overwhelming where I just said, I'm just going to give it up rather than keeping it. That company that we sold to now is worth a ton of money, right? And so that could have been us. We could have owned that company, but instead, we weren't approaching it correctly. So to Tanya's point, it's really important, in my opinion, even as you're starting out, take every sales call. Do not be picky with sales calls because you're going to learn as you go, but be picky with who you bring on, right? Don't be so picky to the point where like, okay, Deb has blue hair, I'm not going to work with her, but you want to be picky. I like your blue hair, Deb.
Lighting. It's the lighting. Don't,
Notice you can't see what hair she's talking about because the hair on her head's not blue. So
thank you.
Yeah. So I want to address this. Hey, Camille. So I think this is a really important point. So you can't be scared of people bashing your program. You're going to have, that's going to happen. It's all about customer service, right? So for us, over the last couple of years, I'm not going to say every single person has been happy. And I would say most of the time it's not us, but you're not going to satisfy everybody. That's just the reality of, there are people out there that play victim and they rather blame you. Like, we have people that come in our program and literally don't do the program and then blame us for them not being successful. Well, and then literally we had this one person who was trying to say they wasted money. And I'm like, you realize that I can literally see how many times you've logged into our Zoom and how many times you've logged into a program, and you've logged in once 6 months ago. So how is it our fault that you're not successful if you're not utilizing the program correctly? And we've emailed you, we've texted you, we've called you, and you just aren't using the program. It's your fault, not our fault. So you're going to have that. It's really how you have to have the backup. right? So like we see if you're using our program or not. We see if you're successful or not. And we have measures. That's why we have surveys that go out every month. That's why we talk, and we have emails that are going out to our clients like, hey, we just want to see how it's going. I'm in constant communication. So you can't fear people bashing the program, because that's going to happen. But what you could do, it's really your reaction to it. How do you fix that? How do you, what's your customer service and fulfillment, so that you can try to remedy anybody that's not happy. I would say out of the last 2 years, we only had one person that no matter what, that we were not going to satisfy that person. But there's been a few people that, in the beginning, one of our best students, like the first week we had an event, and long story short, she was like really unhappy because we were gone that first week, even though we told her we were going to be gone, she wanted to start. But then I think she realized, like, what is this program? Nobody's here. And it started off on a really bad foot, but we fixed it. We created a remedy to fix it. So I don't know if Deb and Tanya have anything you want to add to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because just this morning, right, we were with a company, talking with a company that specialized in customer satisfaction and feedback, and really, making sure how your customers feel. And like one of the things we said is, it's one thing to say you want to exceed your customers' expectations. It's another thing to know what those are. And sometimes it's about that, them not being clear, or me not being clear in my communications or whatever. But for the most part, to Camille's point, like I understand that, but like for us, we are very confident in our product. And I know Camille is too. She's very good at what she does. Her expertise is a 10 out of 10. So I think it's a matter of being open to feedback if there's a way to improve. But for the most part, it's more about making sure you control manage the expectations and control the customer journey as much as you can, so that if there's any dilution in their journey, or a point where they fall out, that you have the structure in place to be able to kind of bring them back. And, one of my experiences at Disney was learning how to turn a customer service delivery failure into a win, and turning, when something fell apart, it didn't go right, actually using that as an opportunity to create a raving fan, because how you deal with that in that moment can turn them into actually a bigger fan than people who are enjoying your program, because you delivered when they thought that it was a failure, and you came through for them in a way that was personalized, effective, and you prioritize them. And to me, every single time it's an opportunity. It's just in all how you handle it.
Yeah. And it's having, you're going to have less fear if you have all that process in place, right? So we do tons of surveys with our clients, check-ins, right? So I think if you go into putting your offer out there with having a fear, perhaps maybe take a look at your processes and how you are gathering that customer feedback, and how you're going to manage that. Because at the end of the day, that's also something you it's in your back pocket. Like, so if you get blindsided by, a review, and then you could be like, well, what in your review, this is what you said. So I think that's important to know. But I'm sure, those of you that are out there and you're a new entrepreneur or solopreneur, I'm sure it's a fear. And that's okay. But I think that the more of the back end and the process and the operational side, like Deb was talking about, you put into place, the less you're gonna have to worry about that.
So hopefully that was helpful there.
You can't be scared. You can't be scared.
Nope.
Scared.
Yeah.
That's a Florida term. That's a Florida term, Alexa.
Yeah.
Scared.
So in terms of the other two C's, that's really important. The next one is, so create attention, content, and then conversation. You have to have conversations, and every platform is different. Again, LinkedIn is to the point. People don't want to have conversations. Like, do you want to scale your business? If so, we can help. We've helped hundreds of people, period. Yes or no? Like, you're either going to say, I'm a know-it-all and I can do it myself, or B, I already have mentors or coaches that can help me, or C, you know what? Yeah, I do need help, right? So you either want to struggle by yourself or you don't. You're not going to convince somebody overnight over a conversation on LinkedIn, because people aren't on LinkedIn all the time. Where when you're on like Instagram, people are scrolling all day long. Like, they're willing to kind of let their walls down a little more, because it's a different mind frame. It's a different mindset. And the same with Facebook too, I find too. Like, you can have more conversations with people. So you have to know the avenue you're having, but what you want to make sure is you show, like, why are you different than anyone else? If you have any guarantees, what's your guarantee? and you just want to come out and build relationships. You want to know, is this somebody that you can help? Do they have a problem that you can fix? And if you do, then are they interested? If they are, then you invite them to a phone call. Like, it's really that simple, but you have to have the conversation, and how you have the conversation is important. So I look at it a couple different ways. One, there are so many people that are liking and commenting on your stuff right now that you're probably not approaching, right? And so if you're going live, if you're putting content out, which you should be, like, people are liking and commenting on your stuff. You need to build those relationships with those people because they've already raised their hand without them even knowing that they're interested in you. The other thing is, like, more the cold DMing. Like, people are out there that need your help, right? So how I look at it is, I'm gonna throw a cast out and see what interest there is, because it's out there. So what you want to do is make sure that you are very much being active, right? So there's really good AI tools out there that you could use that will scan. It's like crazy, the tools that are out there that will literally scan their Facebook or their LinkedIn and literally write the message for you. So I use something called Outboundly, and it's a really great tool that literally will scan the profile, and it will literally build. So, like, I'm gonna demonstrate it right now because it's so crazy. So if I go, for example, I'm gonna go to yours, Deb. So I'm gonna go to Deb. Okay. I'm gonna go. Let's see. Problem is, I think because I'm messaged. Let me see if I can do it. It might not work because I'm already friends with you, but let me see. So they have, like, different packages where you could literally, like, it's AI, and so I feed it information like, well, I'm speaking to agency owners, I'm looking to scale their profile. I want to let them know I'm impressed with what they're doing. I think that there's so much potential. I want them to know we've scaled hundreds of agencies, and, you know, keep the message light, fun, and high energy, almost literally like the new AI that's out there. And so I literally feed that information, and then all I have to do is, I'm not going to use yours because I can't, because I'm already friends with you. So if I type in, and I wish I could share my screen. I don't think I could share my screen for them. Actually, I can share my screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's see.
All fancy over here. I love it.
I'm super excited about this. Okay. So, all right. So whatever. So if I type in, let's see, like, let's go to Sales Navigator, for example, right? So if I go to Sales Navigator and I go to, all right, I'm going to search. So I'm going to use John's example, right? So I'm going to type in CEO, right? Include. Okay. Yep. Or founder. Okay. All right. Company type, that doesn't really matter. Current company. This doesn't really matter. All right. This doesn't really matter. All right. So then you would say, okay, geography, you probably want to keep it in the United States, right? Industry, you want to type marketing. And probably advertising, right? Advertising, should include, right? All right, so we'll start there. Okay, so for our purposes, so let's go to this guy, right? All right, Benjamin. Wouldn't it be funny if this guy's like watching? All right, so I want to hit the message, and I'm going to generate a message. So let's go generate. See, it's spinning. It does take a little while because it is AI and it is rather slow. And ChatGPT has been very slow lately. But anyway, all right. Hey, Benjamin, I'm so excited to reach out and connect with you. I'm Alexa from an agency scaling team, and I'm absolutely blown away by your passion for music and the outdoors. You have such a unique combination of interest and experiences that I couldn't help but be interested to learn more about how we could work together. Digital marketing is such an amazing tool to scale businesses towards 6 to 9 figures, and I'd love to discuss how our team could help you do that. If you're open to having a conversation, let me know what works for you, and I'd be thrilled to hear more about your business. Is that not
That's
ridiculous?
awesome. That's incredible. Yeah.
Like insane, right? So like I'll give you guys one other example. So to show you like it's incredible.
It modifies
saves you
according
time.
to your, yeah.
And honestly, it wrote a better message than I could ever write. Right? So generate. All right, so it's generating. So let it go. But like it's honestly writing such a better message than I would ever write. Like to be honest with you. And like it's just I don't have the time. And it literally generates it. All right. Hey, Derek, I'm so excited to connect with you. Your profile says you're an experienced marketing guru, and I am absolutely thrilled to learn more about your business after reading. I'm confident we could take your company to the next level. My team has, so it goes into like, you know, this one's a little bit more about us. But
That's
yeah,
great,
we'd love
though,
to
but
be interested.
It's
But to the
accurately
point.
describing you too, though, right?
Yeah. And what's crazy is you can actually feed it. So like sometimes when I go after Jacksonville, I'll put in here another note that says, let them know I'm in Jacksonville. And then I'm also from Jacksonville too. Like
that's cool.
it's pretty wild. Yeah. So the point is that like, you know, there's no reason why you can't customize and personalize stuff with AI now. So, you know, just it's crazy what's out there, and it's like crazy software. So anyway, so that's, I think it's 11:01, and I think we have another meeting, so we're gonna log off. But you know, just want to say thanks for listening for us for the last hour. And any last words, Connie and Deb?
Follow the 3 C's.
4 C's.
Four.
4 C's. Conversion to the last 4. We didn't talk about the 4th C, which is conversion, which is like more of a sales conversation. But it's create attention, content, conversation, conversion. Those are the 4 C's. So we'll talk about conversion next week. So that's what we got. I hope this is helpful, guys. See you later.